let's make an interesting video. Stupid. About animation and GONet. It's cool. That's one of the things you're going to want to do is run around in GONet and have your dudes animated and networked, right? It's something I would want to do. It's something I would really want to do. So much. So much. So we've got a lot of animated stuff going on in here. Some things are just transformed. These text boxes are fun, but the real meat about what we're here for today is the dudes animating and running around. And it's all networked auto-magically with GONet. So let's figure out how we do that. Okay. All right. Let's cancel that for a second. Go into the project. So this is another sample scene that's not one that you're going to have available to you, and I've updated a few things. So the GONet sample spawner in this case has an authority prefab and a non-authority prefab. That's going to come into play here because what we want to display for the owner or the authority and the non-owner or the non-authority is two different things, because one of them has a camera attached to it because that's the one I control. My authority, the one that I spawn, I want it to have a camera on it, and the other one should not. So let's go ahead and start with that. I've got the player authority. We'll open the prefab. GONet participant is there. Yes, sir, indeed it is. And we've got some move behavior, basic behavior. Okay, and that's going to give us where there's also one of these has some camera stuff on it. There it is, player camera. Boom. Basic behavior and move behavior, right? So let's go to the non-authority version real quick. And you'll notice those behavior classes do not exist because GONet is going to be networking from the authority and just populating values in the position and the rotation, and also the animator intrinsics. You probably haven't seen this before. So we're going to talk about that stuff, but I did just want to quickly point out that the spawner here is going to be a little bit different with an authority and a non-authority prefab. So let's take a look real quick at where that's used. The GONet sample spawner you're probably familiar with is here. And what we did this time is we added another field, like you saw, the non-authority prefab. The left Alt and P is what spawns this prefab. If the non-authority prefab is provided, we use this special instantiation method. This is the regular Unity instantiate method that will work, and this will automatically network that spawn to any other non-authority machines in the network multiplayer system. But in this particular case, we don't want that camera and that behavior stuff on the non-authority. So what we do is we use this little GONet method off of GONet main that allows you to instantiate with an alternate for the non-authorities, and that's what this second argument is. So I'm going to spawn this for me, and the other people on the network, when they get the notification that the instantiation has occurred, they're going to instantiate the non-authority prefab that's going to receive all the data and all the good stuff from the authority, from me, which will be this authority prefab that I will control. So I wanted to talk about that difference real quick. But just like with anything you spawn, these prefabs have to be under a resources folder. It's very important because the design time locations needs to be automatically updated. Like, don't open this file and start messing around with it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that this is something that GONet uses, design time locations, and you'll see that both of those guys are in this file, and that's because they're under a resources folder. That GONet was automatically able to locate these, and that helps GONet do stuff when you instantiate across the network. Okay, so Let's take a look at some interesting things. So let's look at the player authority. Like I said, it's a GONet participant. This has some extra things on it that are relevant to animation, mainly this animator here. That shows up automatically if you have an animator that's at the exact same level, meaning on the same exact game object as the GONet participant. So as soon as you put GONet participant and add it to a game object that has an animator on it, bam, you're going to see this section right here appear, and it's going to tell you that it's using this profile. And there's going to be another video about what profiles are, but if I click it and select it, it selects over here in the project that particular profile, but that's not why we're here. We'll talk about that in another video. So, but what this does tell you, just like down here with the transform, you've seen that it's going to be on every GONet participant by default. You can select this and you can unselect this. Okay, but we do want this position to be synced, and at the same rate, I want every single one of these animator parameters to also be synced. But if I didn't want fly to be synced, I could just unselect that, and then now fly would not be something that was synced. And let's take a look at exactly what we're dealing with here. It tells you the controller is the character controller, and that happens to be, it's just going to exactly match what we have here. So I double-clicked character controller, and you should be familiar if you're using animations and you're expecting to network them. You ought to really be familiar with what this stuff is. So these are all the parameters for that animator controller, and you can see they're all listed out here. You've got your different layers, and you've got your blend trees and all that fun stuff that the animator and controller is made of. So anytime in code, when this stuff gets toggled, you want the automatic networking of that change to occur. That's exactly what you get out of the box by default, just by putting GONet participant on there at the same game object level that animator is installed on. You'll get all these options, and initially they will be unchecked, but you will need to come in here and check them. Now there is a peculiar thing currently with GONet where you see, as I'm making these changes, you'll get some loading, and then it tends to take the focus off of this, and then I have to come back up here and click. It's just something that has to do with how GONet under the covers is processing the change in data there, and perhaps one day, by the time this video is out there and GONet is prosperous, that won't be a thing anymore, but it should just be a minor annoyance for the grand fact that you can come in here and just by clicking this stuff, you automatically get every change to all of these parameters networked across to other people in the network. And that's as simple as it was. I added GONet participant, and I click. I did all the checkboxes on these guys, and now all the animator changes network. And that's as simple as it was. So I could come back in here and show you I run the server and I run the client, and you'll notice right off the bat that there is no view. I wonder why that might be. Well, that's because we have in our code over here in the spawner that you have to hit left Alt and P in order to spawn the prefab. And if the authority prefab and the non-authority prefab exist, then you're going to get this authority prefab with alternate non-authority guy. And if you recall, that's exactly what we have. Both of these are set. So when we're looking at these, there's no camera yet because that player authority, now I hit Alt P, that's the server. Now he spawned this guy who has a camera controller and that behavior stuff attached to him. And then I go over here and I hit Alt P, same thing. Now he spawned in, And now I can go find my other dude, and there he is, and I'm going to run by him, and it's just networked. It's great. And I can hit shift and run a little bit faster, or let go of shift, and then I can just kind of walk it in. All this other stuff that's in the scene is just kind of extra networked stuff, just because I wanted to show that you can do all sorts of stuff and it's not just a one-trick pony. And there he goes. He's running around. He's having a great old time, and life is good. So that's as simple as it gets. All you have to do is go to your game object that has an animator on it, put GONet participant on it, open up the little animator intrinsics guy, and click, click, click. Check all your check boxes. Next thing you know, you're animating and networked pretty cool stuff with GONet.